everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? I'm Steve Stebbing.
And I'm Chloe Stebbing.
And we are the weekly rundown of what we're watching, which may become what you're watching. And we come at you every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on stevestebbing.ca. And this week, well, I have probably one of the funniest movies of the year, if not the funniest. And Denzel and Spike Lee getting together for the fifth time. Also, one of Chloe's favorites, I have a movie from WellGo USA. I know she always looks forward to these ones. Plus, I have a surprise that I don't think any of you thought that I ever would get to, including Chloe herself. So let's get into it. It's right, fresh for your eyeballs. And I know it's a super bold claim for me to say that I have found the funniest movie of the year. But seeing as we're beginning of September-ish, I feel like there is still time to claim somebody else to claim that throne. But right now, the funniest movie of the year is this film, and it's called Splitsville.
When Ashley asks for a divorce, the good-natured Carey runs to his friends Julie and Paul for support. Their secret to happiness is an open marriage. That is, until Carey crosses the line and throws all of their relationships into chaos. Starring Dakota Johnson, Adria Arjona, Kyle Marvin, Angelo Covino, Nicholas Braun, David Castaneda, O.T. Fagbenley, Charlie Gillespie, and Simon Webster. Written and directed by Angelo Covino.
This is the second film, I believe, from Angelo Covino, who also writes this with Kyle Marvin, who's one of the other stars in this. They're kind of the two main dudes of this film. They made a film before called The Climb, which is about two cyclists and just like a friendship between them that goes... They love to languish in the comedy of errors. And that's where both films have their power. I would say, as much as I love The Climb, I think Splitsville is even better. And it is damn near flawless, in my opinion. It is really, really funny from the get-go. It brings the insecurity of marriage, the insecurity of relationships, even the insecurity of just sex in general. I mean, the movie opens with Kyle Marvin with his wife of just over a year, Ashley, played by Adria Arjona, and she, after witnessing like a car accident in which somebody dies, she has this big moment like, I have to say something now or I'm not going to say anything. I've been planning to leave you for a month now and wrote this letter. I want a divorce. And he's like, oh, we can get through this. She's like, I've been unfaithful. And he's like, oh, we can work through this. And she's basically like, no, like, I want this split. And rather than hear the rest of the letter, he runs. He gets out of the car and runs. And they're on their way to their friend's beach house. But he basically runs and swims all the way there and gets there. And just basically, they're like, oh, she's already been here and left, so you can stay here, right? So then they basically lay it on him that they have an open marriage and that's what makes it work and that they have no insecurities about it and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, they're very well off, had this beautiful beach house, but he has to, not the guy that ran all the way there, but the guy that's living there, he has to keep darting into the city for work. So wife assumes that he's got a relationship in town. And one night after drinking wine, the wife and the best friend sleep together. So in the next morning, he tells him, yeah, I slept with Julie, your wife. And it causes this massive fight. They just start like physically fighting throughout the house in the most ridiculous ways. It shows that the insecurity was always there, no matter, you can't ignore it. And
yeah,
the script is so impeccably done, so hilarious. And I also have to say how strong of a year that Dakota Johnson is having after last year with Madam Web. This year she has Materialists and this film, and they're both home run films. They're both so well done, and a couple of my favorite films of the year. I'm also must note, do you know who distributed this film? Neon.
Tracks. That
Tracks,
tracks.
right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a serious love for Neon that this show definitely has. And so when you see that logo, you're like, oh, well, even if I'm not into what the subject matter of the film is, I got to check it out.
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those films, and so damn good, like to the core. I drove for an hour and 20 minutes to Kelowna to go see this film, and it was absolutely worth it, 100%. Because I actually asked, I put the feelers out. I said to a few friends, "Is this movie worth driving an hour and a half to go see?" And they're like, "Yes, it is." So I'm like, oh, I got to take the advice and go. So I did.
Yeah.
And it was definitely worth it. Let's get into the nerdy bits of this film. The score was done by Dabney Morris, who did the score for Sometimes I Think About Dying with Daisy Ridley, which was a solid little indie flick that was reviewed right here on this show. And I believe we both gave it good reviews. And the stand-up comedian that's the romantic lead in Sometimes I Think About Dying, he just did a stand-up set in Penticton maybe a couple months ago.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, I should have gone. I didn't see it till afterwards, but I was like, oh, I should have gone because he's pretty good in
Yeah.
that film. It was also done in collaboration with David Wingo, who is the usual composer guy for Jeff Nichols and David Gordon Green. So he definitely has directors that have picked him up as a favorite. And I mean, if you're working with Jeff Nichols, you're working with one of the best filmmakers working today. But he also did the score for Gentlemen Broncos with Michael Angarano and Jermaine Clement, which is an insane little film from Jared Hess that I think gets forgotten in the shuffle. Jared Hess was the guy that did Napoleon Dynamite and the Minecraft movie. And in television, David Wingo also did multiple episodes of Mayans MC, Barry, and Kidding, the short lived Jim Carrey series that was on Showtime that was canceled far ahead of its time. It was such a damn good show of a kids a kids show host that's basically losing his grip on reality. Really great stuff. The film is beautifully shot, and it's done by a guy that I know that I've talked about on this show before, named Adam Newport Barra, who shot Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut, Blink Twice, last year, which is such a beautifully shot film. That film is choice. I love that movie, and it probably had my favorite title card last year. It was a damn good one. But he has a movie coming out in October that I'm really excited about. Aziz Ansari made it. It's called Good Fortune, and it has Keanu Reeves playing a guardian angel.
Okay.
It looks so good. Seth Rogen's also in it, and yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. And speaking of Seth Rogen, Adam Newport Barra also shot, and I probably talk about this on the show as well. He also shot a bunch of episodes of The Studio for Seth Rogen, which is winning a whole bunch of Emmys right now. It's doing really well. It actually earned Bryan Cranston his first comedy Emmy that he's ever earned,
That's crazy.
right? He didn't earn a single one for Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I
Yeah, that's
well,
that's
I don't
wild.
I I don't did he earn anything for Breaking Bad? Because
Yeah,
I
he got
okay.
he got I think he got two or three Emmy wins. They were he was at least nominated for every season.
Yeah.
So, and Aaron Paul I think was nominated for more than half of the seasons of that series as well. And I want to say that Anna Gunn might have been nominated as well, because as much as everybody hates Skylar, I think she's a pivotal character, and like
Yeah.
I think she's important, and I think Anna Gunn is a great actress.
Yeah.
So I hate that the internet wants to vilify her, but
Well, I mean, it's the exact same with Lori in The Walking Dead. I mean, it's a female lead, so there's going to
yeah,
be the fair share of criticism.
well, absolutely, absolutely. As a woman, it must be so frustrating to see all these
Yeah.
criticism. I mean, even down to stuff like Last of Us, when people want to sling all the mud they possibly can at Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, and like I am not a fan of the Last of Us TV show. Like I enjoyed season 1. The deviations kind of got on my nerves, but I could live with it, you know, like it was fine. But they just completely threw everything away in season 2, so I'm just not into it.
Hmm.
But I don't blame the actors. Like
No,
they aren't the reason why I don't enjoy it.
exactly. So
So,
I don't know. People are just ridiculous.
yeah.
But anyways, Splitsville. It's not a movie that's getting huge commercial push, but I think if you're looking for a good movie and just to laugh and hear some great dialogue, you can't go wrong with this movie. And I just think it's so genius in its execution, and loved every second of it. And 1,000% worth the drive. Absolutely worth the drive. All right, let's move on to the last one we have for this segment, and it comes from WellGo USA, which is a big releasing platform for this podcast. But this one is a thriller that struggles to find a tone. It is Yadang the Snitch.
In drug crime circles, Yadang informants sell criminals info. Criminals use this to reduce sentences while law enforcement uses it for arrests. Yadang, police and prosecutors form a key triangle. Starring Kang Ha Nuel, Yu Hai Jin, Park Hae Joon, Ryu Kyung Soo, and Chai Won Bin. Directed by Hwang Byung Guk.
Oh, your pronunciations are just,
I'm good with Asian names
yeah.
because I studied Japanese.
Yeah,
I know
no,
this
those.
isn't Japanese,
Yeah, it's
but
Korean, but yeah,
they're
you
similar.
got it. And I don't know, there's something, me and Korean films are like something I've loved for a long, long time. I even since you were a little kid, you probably knew that I watched a lot of Korean films,
Yeah.
because it's just kind of like that's the cultural ones when it comes to filmmaking that I gravitate a lot towards. And it's why I take a lot of chances with these WellGo USA titles, which are all, they are like basically the international delivery system for North America when it comes to East Asian films. Like it's just the way it goes. And this one's concept is interesting. Basically, they're using junkies as snitches on the street to in the guise of their betterment, which is not true, right? And this one is basically just a story about backstabbery after backstabbery. And I think the biggest weakness of the film is it sets itself out being kind of a bit goofy and flashy and almost like Fast and the Furious, but with a little bit of like a cheeky comedic edge to it. And by the end of the movie, you have heavy death beats in this one, and it's really hard to read the tone anymore, or to maintain it anymore. I'm like, oh, now we're sad and uber deathly, grimly serious, and it's like I have a hard time with that bouncing around like that. There are some really solid action sequences, some very fun con artist type of stuff at play in this film that is cool, but it just doesn't feel like it adds up to enough to be consistent. And for every okay film that comes through this WellGo line, there is going to be a film that doesn't quite make the bar, and You Dang the Stitch is kind of that film. It comes from a group of people that I don't really recognize a lot from, so I think they're kind of more fledgling, or they haven't expanded a lot outside of South Korea to an international market to a bigger degree. So I didn't really recognize anything. So I don't really have any technical stuff to bring to this one. The audience for this movie is really known. It's probably not predominantly a white mainstream watchers. You're definitely catering to an international audience. But even then, I don't know like if it maybe it's readable for the South Korean culture, but I just had a real hard time for it. And I love Korean films and love the works of Bong Joon-ho, who does bring a lot of comedy to his darkness. Like Memories of a Murder is really funny but also really disturbing. And I just don't I don't know, I don't think this film was trying to do that, but I'm still also not sure what I was trying to do. All right, I got a surprise for everybody. I'm really, really excited to unveil this one because this is big. This is big. This feels like I've been rolling the snare drum on this one for a bit, and now it's on the blue. This is exciting. This is really exciting. I kind of already tipped. If you follow me on Letterboxd, you know I've already kind of tipped the hat on this one and already put out my review for it. But now I'm bringing it to the show, and it's a big deal. But finally, on beautiful Blu-ray, the Ballad of Wallace Island.
An eccentric lottery winner who lives alone on a remote island tries to make his fantasies come true by getting his favorite musicians to perform at his home. Starring Tom Basden, Tim Key, and Carey Mulligan. Directed by James Griffiths.
Holy shit, right? Like I finally brought this one, and honestly, for any of the depressing and the downtrodden and the soul leeching stories that I've watched since I've had this movie, it would have been so cathartic to watch just such a ray of sunshine that this movie is, because it really is nice at its core. Like you said in the description there, an eccentric millionaire, a lotto winner, invites a broken up folk duo to his remote island to play a concert just for him, knowing that these two had separated a decade ago, not amicably. So he's trying to bring them back together for a show for him, but I think there's something deeper. There's always something deeper than that at play. So you have Tom Basden as Herb McGuire, the one half of this band. He's the one that's still forging out with a solo career, but he's kind of lost track of that. Like he's doing this weird pop collabs album, and it's just so not him, right?
Right.
And meanwhile, Mortimer, the other side of it, which is Carey Mulligan's character, she lives in the US now. She's married. She makes chutney. She's not into the music scene at all, right? She basically removed herself from it. So there's a lot of history at play in this one that they don't give it to you all at once. It just slowly envelops as the film goes on. And of course, Herb, super jaded. Like he's that jaded artist that's still in love with his former bandmate, right? And Tim Key's character, who is just adorable. He's a motor mouth that really can't stop talking. He just says everything out loud. He's always got a pun at play. Like he is adorable, charming, also annoying, but to the characters, not to the viewer. Like there's just something really, really great about him. But there's also a shielded sadness and the reasoning for him to bring this particular artist to the island, right? And there's a lot of emotion at play, but it is done. It's like, I don't know, the best way to put it, and this sounds weird, but I can only kind of form it in metaphor, but it's like crying into the sunshine. You know what I mean? Like it's like dealing with dealing with your feelings, finally putting them out there and having them on display, but being able to reflect on them and to be able to change them for the better. And I think that's a really interesting notion to this film, and it's beautifully well done. And I watched um Splitsville in the afternoon at a matinee at the theater, and then I came home and in the evening watched this on Blu-ray, and it was honestly such a great movie day because I just felt like good, like uplifted,
Yeah.
like that my aura had gotten a good cleansing cinematically, right?
Yeah.
So as like a back-to-back treat, this was really everything. And I apologize to any of the viewers out there who have already seen this movie and being like, why the fuck haven't you watched it yet? Because I had that question for myself as well. Why the fuck didn't I watch that yet? And I finally did, and I'm happy to. So there we go. And I'm happy to have it in my collection as well. But the film was directed by James Griffith, who, with Tom Bazin and Tim Key, had originally conceived this as a short film that was released in 2007. So it took over 20 years for this one to be finally realized into a big film, and also have the adorable and incredible Carey Mulligan's involvement in it, who I love to death. I love Carey Mulligan so much. So really happy that she was in this. But James Griffiths, I recognize him from television he did, and I brought up this show before, Up All Night with Will Arnett and Christina Applegate, was a show on NBC in the mid 2000s, I think, and I really enjoyed that one. Also, a show with Matt LeBlanc playing himself. It was called Episodes. It was on Showtime. Very funny series, but he directed episodes of that. The score for this film was done by Adam Ilan, who did the score for a Armando Iannucci comedy show called In the Loop, which was actually the movie continuation of a series he did called The Thick of It, which is some of the meanest dialogue ever put on paper. Armando Iannucci did the show Veep, and
Okay.
also wrote the Hugh Laurie show Avenue 5 on HBO, which is also really funny, and was in a theme on the show about shows I love, was canceled too early. But yeah, he also Adam Ilan also did the score for Avenue 5, speaking of that show as well. This film was shot by G. Magni Agutson, who did a horror movie, I want to say 2007, with Ron Perlman at like a remote Antarctic base called The Last Winter, which is a really cool fucking film.
Okay.
Uh,
I haven't heard of that one. So.
yeah, it's probably hard to find now. It's directed by Larry Fessenden, who's like a um in indie horror, he's kind of a staple name. He also appears as an actor. I think he's in Your Next. I think he's one of the family members in Your Next.
Okay.
But this film is really great. I know you like Ron Perlman, so yeah, you might want to check that one out because it's pretty solid. But he also shot a series on Disney Plus with Mandy Patinkin called Death and Other Details, which is a gorgeous looking little murder mystery set on a boat. It's a really, really well done. I'm a sucker for a murder mystery, so I'm all over that kind of stuff. And a short-lived series with Colby Smulders from How I Met Your Mother and Jake Johnson from The New Girl called Stumptown. It was like a detective show shot that takes place in Portland. I believe it's based on a comic book. I want to say that Greg Rucka wrote the comic book, but I dug the hell out of the comic, and the show was going really well. And like everything that debuts on Fox, they fucking kill it before it gets good. That's a Fox thing generally. It really
Yeah,
feels like a Fox thing that they do it.
it
I
is.
mean,
Yeah.
it's the Firefly curse of one season. It's just the way it goes. But definitely well done. And yeah, I am eating crow essentially of like how long it took for me to ingest possibly one of the best movies of the year, in Ballad of Wallace Island. And like Splitsville, even if you're not into a film towards this type, I feel like it's still beneficial to watch because it is so well done and so well executed and so well written and with attention to character. And I think there's a beauty in that that transcends genre, really. So I highly recommend it. All right, let's move on to a few things that you can stream right now. That's right, the streaming pile. And I have been waiting for this film for weeks to hit a streaming platform because I was never going to get it anywhere near me here in the Okanagan. So I just have to wait it out for it to hit a streaming service that I can access. And it was a big deal to me because this is Spike Lee. This is Denzel Washington. These are heavy hitters and heavy hitters for decades now, but they're taking on something really big. This one's highest to lowest.
When a Titan music mogul is targeted with a ransom plot, he is jammed up in a life or death moral dilemma. Starring Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright, Ilfinesh Hadera, and ASAP Rocky. Directed by Spike Lee, available on Apple TV
That's
Plus.
right.
ASAP Rocky.
Yeah, ASAP Rocky is in this one. More about
That's
him in a second.
weird.
Yeah, more
Okay.
about him in a second. But he's the kidnapper. You don't see him for most of this movie. You hear his voice. You don't see him for most of this movie. But to set everything up and because when it comes to Spike Lee, like he's adapted Liz Estrada, he has done he has done bigger adaptations or overarching like basically literary nods or cinema nods or putting his own flavor on things that he loves and that have inspired him. So and he's even gone as far as making a popcorn film with Inside Man, which is still arguably very much a Spike Lee film at the same time. But this one's big because this is an adaptation of High and Low, which was written and directed by Akira Kurosawa, who is largely regarded as one of the greatest filmmakers of all time and the inspiration for everything that we see now, from Star Wars to small little dramas. He has inspired it all. But even High and Low was an adaptation itself. It was an adaptation of King's Ransom by author Ed McBain. So it comes from a long history. But this is, again, like I said, Spike Lee taking a classic story and putting his flavor on it. And this is also a big one because this is also collaboration number 5 between Spike and Denzel, who are two artists that just know each other idiosyncratically and know how to make it work on every turn and trust each other. And you can kind of feel that through the film. There are scenes in this movie that feel so Spike Lee, just in the texture of how it's executed. And I will be the first to admit that I am very hit or miss with Spike Lee. There are a lot in the early part of his career that I really like, but there was a bunch, I would say mid 2000s right up to Old Boy, his Old Boy adaptation, where I didn't enjoy any of it. Miracle of Saint Anna is an awful World War II film. Like it feels almost like parody. Like it is really, really, really not good. But Highest to Lowest has to be the most gripped I have been with a Spike Lee film in a long, long time. Maybe since 25th Hour with Edward Norton. I really, really found myself into this film, into the moral juxtaposition that he's put in. So essentially, he is a music mogul that is in the process of a sale of his entire catalog, his entire studio catalog. But he is also trying to strike a deal that he can be the one that's the buyer and can buy it all back because he is not ready to let his empire go. So when this happens, his son is he gets a call that his son has been kidnapped and that they're ransoming him. They want $15 million. And essentially they find out pretty quick that they didn't nab his son. They nabbed his son's best friend, who is the son of Jeffrey Wright's character, who is the driver and best friend of Denzel's character. So he's like, okay, I don't have to pay this $15 million because it's not my kid. But do I put the $15 million on the line to save my buddy's kid? Becomes the question. And now this question is posed because now, different than high and low, like the quandary that he was going through, the high and low, there's an added element to that because it's way more public now in a fast information social media world, that if he doesn't save this kid and lets him die, everyone's going to know within seconds. And there's this quandary at play in this film, and it works so well. I'm not going to get super spoiler, but I will say that there is a scene between Denzel Washington and ASAP Rocky at the end of the film where they're sitting face to face essentially, and it plays like a rap battle. It is so well done. It is so
Okay.
beautifully well done, and has that tension and has that weight to it. And Spike Lee is throwing punches like crazy in this film. And I feel like they all landed and it all pays off. I was really, really enthralled with this film. Much like you said with Girl with the Needle last week, I wish I saw this in theaters. I feel
Right.
robbed. I feel like
Yeah.
this is one that should have been on the big screen, even though there's no big action set pieces or anything like that. There still is something, a quality, an intimacy that you don't get when you're sitting at home watching it on your television screen. So that's unfortunate. But again, for cinephiles, if you want to see a good film that I feel like people are going to talk about when it comes to 2025 and will be on some lists at the end of the film, Highest to Lowest is a really, really good bet. Let's talk some nerdy stuff with this film. Denzel Washington and Jeffrey Wright have starred in a film together before. They were in The Manchurian Candidate together in the early 2000s. And like I said, number 5 in collaborations between Spike Lee and Denzel being Mo Better Blues, Malcolm X, He Got Game, and Inside Man. And then now this film. Also, Jeffrey Wright's son in this film, the one that gets kidnapped, is actually his real life son. Elijah Wright plays his son in this film. So I thought that was kind of fun. Also, yeah, extra people that pop in this film. A new actress who makes her debut in this film. Her name is Isis Gaston, but the world knows her as Ice Spice. Makes her debut
Oh,
in this
okay.
film, and it threw me off because she's got black hair in it, just
Oh,
long black hair, and I was like, I almost didn't know who that was at first, and then she started talking, and I saw her face. I'm like, oh, that's Ice Spice. I know who that is now. I'm not a big fan of her music, but I know what she looks like.
yeah.
As far as I mean, classic actors. Frederick Weller is in this one, who is like in everything independent in the '90s. It was really cool to see him pop up in this. Dean Winters, who I know from like Oz and Rescue Me and just a shitload of other things. You probably would know him from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's the Vulture. Yeah. And he's also the State Farm guy in American insurance commercials.
Okay. Wait, is
Also,
he Jake from State Farm?
no, Jake from State
Okay.
Farm's that black guy.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, not him, not him. We're still talking about the Vulture from Brooklyn
No,
Nine-Nine.
yeah, no, I couldn't because I know that there's another one. There's
Yeah,
Jake from State Farm, and then there's the other
there's the
one.
State Farm, the guy that's in the suit that's always like beaten up or like, and he's always like
Okay.
tough talking guy. That's Dean Winters.
Okay.
Wendell Pierce is in this one. Of course, he was Perry White just recently in Superman. And Nicholas Turturro is in this, and he and Spike Lee have a long history because this is actually his 6th Spike Lee joint that Nicholas Turturro has been in. He was in Do the Right Thing, Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, Malcolm X, and Black Klansman, which is fucking phenomenal film. I love that film. The film was scored by Howard Drawson, who did the RZA film The Man with the Iron Fists. Some action, some really violent and gory action, as well as the Tony Jaa Thai fighting film The Protector. And it's weird that Howard draws in scoring this film, because this is the first film since The Sweet Blood of Jesus, which I think is 2014, that wasn't scored by Terrence Blanchard, who is Spike Lee's usual composer, who I think I already talked about him maybe a couple of weeks ago or last week, one of the episodes. Just like Caught Stealing last week, this film was shot by Maddie Libatique. Like I said last week, Libatique is usually the guy when it comes to Spike Lee's films post 2000. And this film is gorgeous and interesting because of Libatique's work. This was actually the first of the two consecutive New York set crime thrillers with Caught Stealing, because he filmed this movie in 2024, beginning of 2024, wrapped it in May, and then went back to New York in September to shoot Caught Stealing. And they both
Okay.
kind of play New York as beautiful, but the difference is Highest to Lowest is modern day New York, and Caught Stealing is late 90s New York, because the first shot in the film is of the World Trade Center. Talking about the A$AP Rocky thing, I said I would get back to it. This is one of two movies that A$AP Rocky is appearing in 2025. Both films are distributed by A24. This film and a film called If I Had Legs, I Would Kick You,
Oh, okay.
which we are seeing at VIF on the second
Yes.
day we're there. No, first day, day one.
Yeah.
Day one. So you're going to see A$AP Rocky in a movie in a few weeks.
Weird.
Yeah, absolutely weird. But he's really great in this film. This film is damn solid. I really can't say enough about it, and people should go see it. So do it. Put on your Apple TV Plus, or get your Apple TV Plus. I think it's still only $8 a month, and watch it. It's worth checking out. Also, coming back this week is an absolute favorite of mine. They're coming back for their 5th season, and both me and my wife are ravenously happy every time we get to see a new episode of it. I've actually seen the first 9 episodes of this season, so now I have to wait till like mid-October before I get anything new, but it is Only Murders in the Building.
Three strangers who live in the same New York City apartment building and share an obsession with true crime suddenly find themselves embroiled in a murder. Starring Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez, and Michael Cyril Crichton. Created by Steve Martin and John Hoffman. Available on Disney+.
Easily one of the best crafted comedies and mysteries on television right now, and starring a trio that have such great comedic chemistry to it that I could watch seasons into the double digits when it comes to this show. Like I've always loved Steve Martin, and I've always loved a Canadian treasure like Martin Short, but I never knew how great and what comedy chops and what deadpan comedy chops that Selena Gomez had. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with how good she is on this show, because Mabel is hysterically funny on this show. And just her pure, like, because she's the young one of the group, but still in how she carries herself, she's still with them. She's still in that eccentricities. She still feels like she's an old soul that works with them. I don't know. I feel like because of your age, you have a different pop culture relationship with Selena Gomez than I do. But
Well, yeah, like I grew up with Selena Gomez, right?
mhm,
Like on the Disney Channel,
mhm.
specifically Wizards of Waverly Place, which was my absolute favorite show. Like I watched it all the time once I reached like that age demographic.
Mhm.
And so I do have a huge soft spot for Selena Gomez, but I have not watched this show.
I honestly, because you love Selena, I think you will really love this show. Like, I feel like it's kind of up your alley, and it's a murder mystery too, and
Yeah.
there's just so many funny things throughout the series, and so much great guest casting when it comes to the show as well. And season 5 has it as well, because you have 3 eccentric billionaires that join the show, played by Christoph Waltz, Renee Zellweger, and Logan Lerman.
Okay.
And this season delves more into the history of the building in all the most interesting and curious ways, and has elements in it that I can't even start to give away yet, but is a little deeper nerdy thing to me beyond film, just like within storytelling, that I really love. And I'll just say secret passageways. I love them. I love them. I love when they're revealed. I love, like, it's something I loved about the Resident Evil games and stuff like that, or just like searchable games in general when you find stuff like that, or like, it's just, I don't know, it makes me feel nerdy, and I really dig it. But there's some of that within this series, and I love that old building that this show takes place in. Michael Cyril Creighton is hysterically funny. He is now part of the main build cast, and I think he really deserves it. Also, Oliver Putnam's relationship with Meryl Streep's character is beautiful as well, and I adore her every time she shows up and screams. Also, she's fucking Meryl Streep. She's great. So I don't know. This is my pledge out to you. You should start this show. There's going to be 5 seasons of it, and I think you will really laugh your butt off with it because it's really well done, especially if you like Selena Gomez. All right, one more this week. And this, I don't even know if I've ever talked about this streaming service. So, this is a new streaming service to the show, but this show is called Joan.
A mother in despair is swept up into the exhilarating world of crime as she swings between trying to get her daughter back from social services and building a daring, thriving career as a jewel thief. Starring Sophie Turner and Frank Delane. Created by Anna Simon, based on the book I Am What I Am, The True Story of Britain's Most Notorious Jewel Thief by Joan Hannington. Available on
Yes,
BritBox.
BritBox. Bring us some BritBox stuff. Actually, though, this show was originally aired on ITV in the UK, and then the CW actually bought it and aired this series on television because, well, Sophie Turner's from Game of Thrones, and Frank Delane is from Fear the Walking Dead. So they were like, okay, well, maybe it'll do okay in America. Well, if we run it during the summer. And I don't think I heard anybody talking about it, but I kind of dig this show. It's a true story. The woman that wrote the book, that's who Sophie Turner plays in this one, and basically just kind of needing the money in desperate moments, falls in with a jewel thief and ends up becoming like a bigger than life person in the jewel heist world of the UK. And I, for me, I don't have a lot of thought about Sophie Turner beyond Game of Thrones, other than being miscast and misused in the X-Men movies as Jean Grey. I don't think I've really seen her in anything else that I can be like, oh, Sophie Turner was in this. Like, I just know her as Sansa Stark. Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of how it goes. But I really liked her in this one. I like the cockiness of her character and that it could just grow from there. And I like Frank Delane. I always have. I liked him in when I first saw him in Fear the Walking Dead. Like, I mean, his character is a junkie, but I enjoyed his performance because that was kind of the hinge of how you were starting the show out. It was him and Alicia Debnam Carey's character that were basically your conduit into the series.
Yeah.
And then Kim Dickens, who I didn't realize was more of a main character by the end of the series. So, but this is them in their elements because they get to act with their own accents again. So,
I did not know Frank Delane was British. I
yeah,
had no idea.
his dad is Stephen Delane, who is Stannis Baratheon in Game of
Oh,
Thrones.
okay. Okay,
That's
okay.
his dad. Stephen Delane's been in shit for a long, 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 long time. So he's a seasoned actor at this point for sure. But it's a well done series, just a one off, really quick watch because it's an ITV series, so it's only 6 episodes, I believe. But it's directed by Richard Laxton, who did a British comedy series called Him and Her with Russell Tovey, which I thought was just an adorable a little series about a couple in their 20s living in an apartment, and basically it's the flop pad for all of their friends to come by and weirdos as well, and it's really, really funny. And the score of this one was done by Harry Escott, who did the score for Hard Candy with Elliot
Okay.
Page. You
Yeah.
remember that movie? That movie
Yeah.
is wild.
It is.
That
I,
movie's
I,
a shock.
it was so jarring for me because I watched it like around the time when they were releasing Conjuring movies like fucking
Mm.
crazy, and
Oh, so you have this
I
Patrick Wilson
yeah, and
in a
I
different light.
really really like Patrick Wilson, so seeing him in that role, I was gagged. I was like, "Oh my god, no." The entire movie I was like, "No, he's not. He's not."
How can Ed Warren be? What? Also, he did the score for the Mark Strong gangster film Welcome to the Punch, which I really dug, and the Marianne Pearl biopic with Angelina Jolie, A Mighty Heart. I did the score for that. But if you're into British crime shows, Joan would definitely be up your alley. We're almost ready to get out of here. I got a few reminders to hit up first. Out on 4K and Blu-ray this week. Chloe got to talk about it recently. She finally got to take it in, although I'm sure she would have loved to see it on the big screen instead. But out on 4K and Blu-ray, like I said, is Jurassic World Rebirth. I reviewed this one on July 11th, and Chloe, you reviewed it on the August 22nd episode. I gave it a lesser review than you did.
Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, when it comes to the Jurassic
Alan
saga, I run mostly on nostalgia and bias. Don't rely on me for honest reviews for the Jurassic movies because you're not getting one. I will just tell you to watch it.
There we go. Also on 4K and Blu-ray this week. Oh, I'll also bring up that copy of Jurassic I have right here. So just so you know, it's right there. Also out this week on 4K and Blu-ray is the John Wick spin-off film Ballerina with Ana de Armas, a film I quite enjoy, and there are some really crazy kills in this film. I feel like I need to hit up my Lionsgate rep to get a copy coming to me because I haven't received one yet. But I reviewed the film on June 13th, so check it out there. Also, through the A24 store on their Digipacks, you can get the Blu-ray of Materialists now through that ordering system. And I highly recommend doing that because the editions you get are beautiful. I own about 5 or 6 myself now. And as well as Materialists being one of the best films of the year. And again, part of that Dakota Johnson hot streak that I was talking about. She's really killing it. It's got the always dependable Pedro Pascal in it, and it's got Chris Evans. So you really can't go wrong there. I reviewed that one on the June 27th episode, so you can check that one out there. Also, here we're getting to the nitty gritty here. On Blu-ray this week, you can find Bridehard, which is the new action film with Rebel Wilson, where she plays a secret agent that has to save all of her friends and family at her friend's wedding. And it's fucking awful. It's awful. It's just bad. It's bad and just irredeemable and bad, and also reviewed on the June 27th episode. So you can check that out. Get both Materialists and Bridehard. Just get them all right there. Also, and on a beautiful Steelbook 4K from RLJE Entertainment is Clown in a Cornfield 4K. And I am a sucker for a good Steelbook. I just there's something about them. I like having them in the collection. While I will celebrate the Clown in the Cornfield is original slasher material, a genre that I really like. it didn't satisfy me enough in some departments as far as gore and the kills go. There are a few cool ones, like the scythe coming out of the cornfield in the beginning, and the guy in the air with it was fucking great.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into any spoilers on this one, but some of the reveals I thought were kind of cool, and it's like a weird play on tradition and the
Yeah.
toxicity of it as well. I think is interesting. I want to know if there's going to be more to this, because there is an open-endedness, a completely open-endedness. So I'd like to know if there's more. Also, I think I saw Tucker and Dale's truck in this film as well, in the background of one scene. But we both reviewed this on the May 9th episode. I think I came out a little bit ahead of what you thought of it.
Yeah, the Gen Z isms were too much for me as a Gen Z.
Yeah. You were like, enough of that.
Yeah, it's too much.
Fair enough. Well, now comes my favorite part of the episode. It's when Chloe butts in.
All right, so I did not watch the movie I said I was going to watch, and that movie was The Ick. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. I'm not making any promises. Instead, I finally watched Weapons. And as much as I did enjoy this movie, it's not in the same caliber for me as Bring Her Back.
Okay.
I don't even really think that it's a competition. I mean, Weapons isn't a bad film by any means. Like, I did enjoy it, but like I said, it's just not in the same caliber as Bring Her Back. I mean, Australian film is just something else. But I did really enjoy the concept. It's been a while since we've had a horror film that uses this concept. I don't want to say too much because I feel
You're
like
talking about the multiple perspective, right?
multiple perspective, but also the big bad.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, like, specifically that type of entity hasn't been around since, I don't even know when that would have been, 2017, 2016. So that was really refreshing. And bringing it back to The Walking Dead once again, Austin Abrams in this. He plays the junkie James.
He's so
And
good.
he was my favorite character, and that's saying, like, that, but that's not really saying much because I fucking hated everybody. Everybody's a horrible person. But Austin Abrams was Ron in The Walking Dead in the Alexandria arc. Rick's love interest's son. So that was interesting because he is not recognizable in this film at all. He does not look like... I mean, I guess that was 10 years ago now. So.
He's the only cast member that wasn't replaced, that didn't have to be replaced due to a scheduling problem.
Really?
Yeah, he's the only person that didn't have to switch out of the film.
Well, I mean, I don't think he has much else going on. So.
He's getting busier. I mean,
Really? Okay.
He's the lead for Zach Kreger's next film, which is Resident Evil.
Oh, that's sick. Okay, that's awesome for him.
Yeah, so he's the lead.
And then also, June Diane Raphael is in this.
Oh, there's some great... The reveal in the liquor store is so good.
It's so good, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have not seen her since year one.
Oh, shit. Okay.
As Jack Black's love interest. That's the only other thing I've seen her in.
Well, I listen to her regularly because she's one of the co-hosts on How Did This Get Made?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, with Jason Mantzoukas and Paul Scheer.
Right.
Her husband, Paul Scheer.
But yeah, including James even, all the characters are horrible people. Yep. And it's almost comedic how bad they are.
Mm-hmm.
And the horror visuals, like, immediately they are striking and they are creepy, but then you kind of analyze it a little bit more and they're T-posing. I don't know. The Unfortunately, the overall execution of actual storytelling, like, besides the split perspective, was quite, I don't want to use the term recycled, but it felt familiar.
Okay.
It didn't feel super fresh for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's still an enjoyable film. And if
Mm-hmm.
you like horror, then it is worth watching. But if you are somebody who has consumed a lot of horror, you will notice uh, similarities or just things that are overly familiar. But I still enjoyed the film. I'm not crazy about it. Like, I don't hold it to the same standard as some of the other films that I've seen this year. But I would recommend people to watch it.
Which one do you like more, Barbarian or Weapons?
Barbarian, 100%.
All right. So that is going to bring us to a close this week. But what are we going to talk about next week? Well, I'm going on speculation a lot for this one, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get this in theaters and I will have it for next week. But there is a brand new Stephen King adaptation that is hitting theaters, and I've been waiting for this film for a long time. Technically, it's actually a Richard Bachman adaptation, but it is The Long Walk. I didn't think they were ever going to make this film. I thought it was unmakeable, but they have made it, and the cast alone just is crazy, just crazy. So that is something that I'm almost guaranteeing I'm going to bring to the show. One that I'm not sure if I'm going to be getting in theaters is Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, the long awaited sequel to This Is Spinal Tap, one of my favorite movies of all time. So hopefully Christopher Guest and the crew can hold it up for this one, and I will enjoy it just as much. Also, I have some WellGo USA stuff that I might be bringing, including the steamy romance of Hidden Face. I believe this one is Russian. It is called The Last Ronin. Also, I'm still trying to find that copy of Lurker. If you're out there and you have access to movie screeners and you haven't sent me a Lurker screener yet, I'm sad about it. So just so you know, so Lurker is going to be something that I would like in my inbox at some point.
Bringing up The Walking Dead again. This is like the fifth time.
Right? It's just like the Walking Dead cast. What? How can we connect to Walking Dead?
Next week, I'm going to be bringing the first 2 episodes of the new season of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon Book of Carol, the longest titled Walking Dead show ever. I haven't spoken about Dead City at all because I couldn't care less, and I really, really hate Herschel. He's one of the worst characters ever created. But Daryl Dixon is watchable. More watchable than World Beyond. So they have that going for
There
them.
we go. There's the
So
high
yes.
bar.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, it's still lingering around. Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, still on the list. Still might bring it. Who knows? I surprised you this week. It could happen. Now you have no idea when it's going to happen, but it could happen.
There's hope.
There is hope. The ones that won't be making an appearance because they have been pulled from theaters or my screener expired because I was too late. Honey Don't and Shook will come at a later date because, yeah, those are the reasonings. I just couldn't get to it and couldn't get to it. That's the way it goes. But that is it for this episode. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and Blue Sky at the Stevel Dead.
You can find me on Letterboxd at HoneyBunChloe.
You can find all the episodes of this show on stevestebbing.ca or find us on YouTube and subscribe and give us a little like too. We're also on shiftheads.ca. You can find me at a plethora of different places. First off, after the credits with Marina, Bill, and Melissa, our latest episode is on Caught Stealing and a little bit of VIF predictions. You can also find me on Tremble, the horror podcast with Kurt and Taylor. Our latest episodes are on Late Night with the Devil and Fallen. And you can hear me on Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Toronto's News Talk 1010, which is found on the iHeartRadio network. If you're not able to listen to it live, you can find it in podcast form wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And that is it. We've emptied our list for this week. And so until next week, bye-bye. Hey, how do you feel about potato peelers?
No.